close your eyes and picture what fearless looks like to you. Maybe it's George Washington standing tall as he crosses icy Delaware River with the weight of revolution on his shoulders. Or maybe it's Dr. Martin Luther King leading the march in Selma, knowing full well that violence was awaiting, yet walking forward anyway. Or maybe it's Susan B. Anthony calmly dropping the ballot into the box, daring the world to stop her. Or perhaps it's Winston Churchill promising an unbreakable Britain while Nazi bombs rained from the sky. Fearless, we think, look like those grand cinematic moments with history hanging in the balance. But what if fearless also hides in those ordinary moments too, in the boundaries that we notice, and the ones we finally break free from? So for years, one thing I thought I knew for sure, fearless does not look like me. And so far from it. Picture this, a young woman, a little bit timid, wide-eyed, and slightly excited, 7,000 miles away from home, and walking into her first college class in America. Nothing felt familiar. Everyone looked different. Everyone sounded different. And the professor was speaking, but with a strange accent, a southern drawl that she couldn't comprehend. So every word was a blur, every sound was loud, and every heartbeat was even louder, and every nerve was on fire. And then the bell rang, the class was over. So what would you do when the world felt that overwhelming? Well, I did any terrified and self-respecting human would do. I fled to the only sanctuary I could find, the bathroom stall. A tiny, blessed box of silence. There's no questions, no strange accents, no nerves on fire, just me, 4 walls, and a toilet I had no intention of using. And before you ask, it was a clean stall. I checked. So for 10 glorious minutes, I could breathe, I could slow down my pounding heart, I could survive until the next bell. So that was me 27 years ago. Now fast forward a decade and a half, my manager, a man, sharp, confident, impeccably dressed, pulls me aside and smiling, "You're fearless." Me? Fearless? I almost choked on my coffee. I was the person who hid in the bathroom. The only thing fearless about me was being the first to sprint to the bathroom. And yet, the label stuck, fearless. Mystified. I wore the label like a jacket that just doesn't fit. Yes, I have led 3 market expansions, new states, new cities, new teams, new growth, and most recently right here in Indiana, our team has more than doubled our business. So it sounds impressive, it sounds bold, but still, me, fearless, it just doesn't feel right. I mean, come on, Washington faced cannons. I faced quarterly sales goals, and King faced violence and hatred. I faced skeptical CFOs. raise my hand for a new market did not feel like courage. It feels like an adulthood. You assess the risk, you take a breath, and you leap with a safety net. I did not feel fearless. I felt like a grown-up. Then one day, it hit me right in the middle of conversation with my then 9-year-old daughter, Lily. We were vacationing in Jamaica, sun, steel drums, ocean breezes, just pure magic. An elderly Asian gentleman saw Lily, and his face lit up, and he launched into rapid Mandarin. And Lily, was born and raised in America, and Mandarin has always been a bit elusive to Lily. So she felt a little embarrassed, and she apologized, telling him that she couldn't quite understand him. And later that day, and still puzzled, and she asked, "But Mom, how did he know I'm Asian?" I stared at her, baffled and slightly amused. "Lily, people can see you're an Asian. It's literally the first thing people notice." And that's when it clicked. See, I grew up in China. Everyone was Asian. My classmates, my teachers, my neighbors, celebrities, politicians, even criminals, all Asian, all 1.4 billion of us. Growing up, no one saw me as different. I was the default, the mainstream, the norm. I was the fish that did not know it was in water. Only after I moved across the world did I realize the water existed. But here in America, I walk into a room, the world has written my biography. An Asian woman, quiet, reserved, technical, hardworking, yes. But leadership, risk-taking, bold, probably not. And certainly not someone who says, "I'll go build a new territory." So that's when I realized the world has put me in a box, and I didn't even notice the box existed. So I simply did what I think everyone was expected to do. Raise your hand, do the work, and build a business. It never occurred to me that it was out of character for someone like me. And that's why they call me fearless. Not because I did anything extraordinary, but because I colored outside the lines without realizing the lines were there. So mystery solved. So if I have boundaries I couldn't see, how about the ones we do see? The ones we internalize, the ones we obey without questioning. And when I say we, I mean all of us. Every race, every background, every personality, every hairdo, every height, every questionable movie taste. So you get the idea. Maybe once you sang your heart out and someone laughed. The music inside of you went quiet. Maybe a well-meaning adult once said, "You're not the leadership material." And somewhere along the way, you believed them. Or maybe a teacher in 7th grade said, "Public speaking isn't your strength." And here you are, decades later, avoiding those microphones like they bite. And that, my friends, is where fear lives, in the quiet acceptance of those boundaries. So let's get back to my initial question. What does fearless look like? It's not about leading a march, crossing a river, or facing a battlefield. Most days, fearless is a lot quieter. It looks like not shrinking to fit someone else's expectations. It looks like stepping over an invisible fence you did not build. And it looks like finally noticing the fence you have lived with for so long and deciding, nope, not anymore. So being fearless is not about being bold or perfect. It's about seeing those boundaries, the ones placed on you by others, or the ones you quietly built yourself, and choosing not to let them decide how far you will go. So here is one thing I will ask of you in the next few days. Notice a moment when you automatically hold back. Just notice it. Then instead of stepping away, take a step forward, because that's where fearless truly lives in all of us, in realizing we're capable of more than the world ever assumed, and sometimes more than we assumed about ourselves. Take your step forward.